set up here in just a second, and then we will get going. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask now about raising quail, quail for profit, hatching quail, whatever quail questions you have, go ahead and ask, and we will get you taken care of in just a few minutes. Soon as my, oh dear. As soon as I load here. Let's see. All right. I think I'm up and running. So, welcome everybody. We're glad you're here. If you can, hit the like button, support the channel. I greatly appreciate it. We do 2 lives a week. One on Sundays, which is more of a community setting. I read all the comments and everything like that. Tuesdays are for rapid fire questions. So you're just going to send me your questions. If you can, put a bunch of question marks or explanation points at the beginning or at the end so that I can better see it. I do not read all the comments tonight. I do appreciate everybody being here, but it is rapid fire only tonight. But we would love to have you a part of our Sunday lives, which is more of a community setting, and we do a lot of fun things on there. So hopefully you can check that out as well. But this is our this is our second Tuesday that we've done this, so we're getting in the groove of things. I did do a bunch of Monday lives, but Mondays are just way too hectic for me, and it was either Tuesday or Thursday, so I chose Tuesday instead when I had the time to do this. So I will give you guys just a second to ask your questions, and then we will get going. And I wish you all the best on your journey with Coturnix quail. We've got a lot of good things coming your way. If you want to know more about troubleshooting your hatch rates or what to look for or things like that, I am doing a small little series, I guess you could say, on when incubators lie, what to look for if there's a temp issue, if there's a humidity issue. I've got one more in this little list when it's neither one of those things. So hopefully a lot of those will be able to help you with your hatching process, and we've got a lot of videos coming your way that I'm very excited about, and so I want you to stay tuned for that as well. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos that we've got for you. And again, if you have any questions, please ask and put a couple question marks or explanation points at the beginning and or at the end so I can better see it. Let's get started. Let's see. Deleted my messages. Wanted to say my first button quail hatched about a month ago, and they are growing fast. That's wonderful. Congratulations. I've never hatched out button quail. George has here, but I actually have not. Joy says, hello everyone from Western Oregon. I have chicks hatching, some of my own and some shipped. Even though my incubator has been running low on temp, even with a heavy wool blanket on it, looks like I'm going to get a good hatch rate. That's great. Congratulations. Robert says, hello everyone, I'm from Ohio and I have chicks that were supposed to be hatching today, but no such thing. Temp is 98.6. Well, that's your problem. It needs to be 99.5. So I would bump that up to 100 very, very quickly. And I would let them go until about day 21 or 22, since you've had such a low temp. Let's see. Again, I'm not reading the comments tonight. I do appreciate everybody being here. Thank you very much. Hopefully we'll be able to answer some of your questions, but I'm only doing the questions tonight, so get those in now. Johan says, hey bud, thanks for the advice. I did as you said, got the birds for going on 3 days with 24-hour light, got save a chick coming in the mail, still only 1 egg out of 27. Yeah, it'll take a few days, and the save a chick is really going to help. Because that kind of boosts them up. There's a few other things that we can do, but let's hold off and let's see if doing the light situation, which I think if you would have started that on Monday, probably got another day of that, and then put them on the 18 hours of light, and then give them about a week, and then they should be good to go. But obviously keep me posted, but we really, once you get the save a chick in, you're going to want to use that, but we need to wait about a week of steadiness before we try to troubleshoot anything else. Let's see. Robert says day 17 and no chicks help. Yeah, you need to get your temp up. So put that at 100 degrees and let it go for an extra couple of days. Crystal says, good evening, Zach. Getting my watering system set up. Any recommendations for keeping lines from freezing? It's a good question. So we have a bucket system. It's automated waters everywhere in troughs. But we have a bucket system. So the water goes to this 10-gallon bucket, or maybe it's a 20-gallon bucket. I can't remember. It's a big bucket up. And then it gravity feeds one side of the barn, and we did it on the other side as well. We actually have a cow heater water in the bucket, so it doesn't freeze in there, and then it doesn't stay in the lines very long. So we like that. A couple of my customers use the bucket system, and they actually put a bubbler in there, like from an aquatic tank, to keep the water moving so it doesn't freeze. So that's a pretty good idea as well. And then you really don't have to worry about the lines that much. If they're PVC, then obviously get that, styrofoam stuff that you put on top of it to insulate it, or around it to insulate it. But as far as like the tubing, they really don't freeze that much. There's not a lot in there to worry about. But that's a couple of ideas for you. Martha says, hello all. I will be picking up some new chicks about 45 minutes from my home in Central Florida. Do I need to set up a heater in the box in the car for a drive home? I'm pretty nervous about this. You're in Florida. You're probably in the 80s. It's only 45 minutes. No, you'd be fine. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, especially since it's only 45 minutes. I would have your brooder set up before you leave, so that when you get them back, you can put them right in there. The heat's already up, and they can get warmed up. Let's see. Foster Farm says, when will Egyptian eggs be available? January 1st is when they'll be back on the website. Michael Lowe says, I might not hear your reply, but do you keep your layer hens for eggs to eat separate from males? Do you keep your layer hens for eggs to eat separate from males, or can fertilized eggs be sold for eating? Fertilized eggs can be sold as eating, and every cage that we have in the barn has males in them. So our corporate accounts for eating eggs, that's what they get. And really, there's not a difference. Dwayne Hansford says, I can't get my incubator to get up to temperature. Go ahead and insulate it with a blanket, a towel, something thick. Usually that's the case. Usually, the air is seeping out of it. So if you help insulate it, it's going to help the heating element not go up and down and fluctuate, and it's going to keep the heat in. That usually stabilizes the humidity as well. Welcome, S.O. Swanson. Let's see. Little Giant. Yeah. If you insulate it, that'll help a lot. Connie says, can you use PEX PEX for water systems? Yes, you can. We don't, but we have in the past. They've worked fine. Florida's in the 90s. Yeah, you'll be fine, especially for 45 minutes. AJ says, hello. I should be getting my eggs from you delivered tomorrow. How long do you recommend I wait to put them in the incubator? 12 or 24 hours? 24 hours, and there's a hatching guide inside the box that goes all over the steps to help you. And make sure that your incubator is running for about 48 hours before you put them in as well. Martha's in the house, says, thank you. Any recommendations for the brooder, plate or lamp, better for heat? I've been looking at both and wondering if the plate is safer. I think it's personal choice. You could do either one. For Coturnix quail, because they grow so quickly, I'm not a big fan of the heat plates because they need heat for the first 3 weeks, but by week 2, they're like quadruple in size from when they were a chick, so not all of them can fit underneath that. and so you have to have multiple of those in there, things like that, multiple feed sources. So I prefer the lamp. You could do a ceramic heat, that's safer as well, and that works well. But everything we use in the barn is heat bulbs, heat lamps. But it is a personal choice. Johan says, "What temp should brooders be set at?" You really just want to watch them. They'll tell you if they're too hot, too cold. In fact, we've got a best practices brooder video. You can look that up on our YouTube channel. Best practices for the brooding process, I believe it's what it's called, and that'll actually go into it. But long story short, the technical answer is it's supposed to be 99 degrees on the first day, and then it drops a half degree a day every day after that. So it starts at 99, and then it's 98.5, and then 98, and then 97.5, and that's super annoying to have to try to figure out and work with. So long story short, if you have a heat source right in the middle, and they are all bunched up, all in a group, right in front of the heat lamp, it means that they are too cold and you need to increase the heat. If the heat source is here and they're all over here scrunched up together, that means that the heat source is way too hot. You need to decrease the temp. What you want to see is they're just all over the place. Everybody's doing their own thing is what you want to see. So if you just watch them, 5 minutes a day, just walk past them every once in a while and see how they're doing. They'll let you know what they need. AJ says, "Do I need to tilt them every few hours while they sit?" Nope, you don't need to. Just pop them on top of the foamer where they're sticking out, let them rest, and you are good to go. Martha says, "Where I am in Florida, it's in 70s. Yeah, it's still okay. It's not a big deal at all. Yeah, they'll be fine. I mean, if it was like a 3-4 hour trip, then I would say, yeah, we need to do something. If you're worried about it, it wouldn't be a horrible idea to stop by Tractor Supply or something and get those little heat packets, like for your hands, for your pockets and things, and put those in there. I think they only last like an hour or something like that, or 2 hours. I can't remember. But you could put a couple of those in there, and if they get cold, they can lay on top of that. That wouldn't be a horrible idea if you're worried about it. Sydney says, "Do you recommend to put 2-week-old quail on a 1-inch by 1/2 inch floor mesh?" Yeah, that's completely fine. Yeah, that would be fine. At 2 weeks old, they'll be fine on that. Just wanted to double check everything in my head. Sydney says, "What are the reasons for quail feet problems?" I don't know necessarily what you mean by quail feet problems. I can go into a couple of them. It does look like that's the last question. So if you do have any questions, go ahead and ask now, and I'll be happy to answer those for you and help you on your journey with Coturnix quail. And then I'll go over some things when we're done as well, as far as what to expect on the YouTube channel coming up. But for example, splay leg. Splay leg is when their legs go straight out. That's usually a slippery surface issue at hatch. Usually in the incubator, especially with the plastic ones. So you need to watch that. The poop balls on their feet is usually it's due to them eating and drinking and then stepping in it and then it drying. So you got to keep the brooder clean, especially if you're using shelf liner or blue paper towels for the first week or so. Because they'll get nasty with that. Curled toes is usually a humidity issue at lockdown, and they're hatching out late. That's all the feed issues I can think of. So most of them are preventable or fixable going forward. With curled toes, you can spread them out and tape them, and that usually works. With splay leg, you can put like a rubber band around them, or put them in shot glass, and that usually corrects the issue. And the poop balls, you would just want to run over warm water for about 35, 40 seconds, and then you just flick it off like you're flipping a coin in the air. Let's see. Joe Sandy 1822 says, "What eggs can be shipped the soonest? Thanks for all that you do. You are helping me learn so much before I dive into this journey." Well, thank you very much. I'm glad that we can help, and I wish you all the best on your journey. Well, we're pretty caught up on most things except for the Fab Fees and the Golds and Autumn Ambers. So, BTAs, mix, feather sexable mix, Egyptian fees, growl fees, growl fee tuxedos, SSCs, the Schofield Silver Collection. Pretty much all of those are ready to go out. Now, with next week, I'm only going to be shipping Monday and Saturday because Thursday the post office is closed. Usually, the more veteran workers take off Wednesday and Friday as well. And usually things go to crap at the post office. So we'll be shipping Monday so that they can be assured that they'll get there on time. But I don't want to ship Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Or Friday, just till they get back in the groove of things. So I'm actually going to collect all the eggs in the barn and put them in for me because I don't want you getting old eggs either. And I need some eggs, so it's a double purpose kind of thing. So most likely, if you order now, you could probably go out Monday. If I can't get it out Monday, then you'll go out next Saturday. But yeah, it's just because of the holiday. But I'm pretty caught up on everything except for the Fab Fees, which I actually took off the website, and the Golds and Autumn Ambers. And I should be caught up on those by the end of next week. I had a 720 and then I had a 980 that I had to get out. And then I've got a couple like 120s and a couple 60s. But the 960 or whatever just went out. The 720 or 740 goes out Saturday, and then next week I'll be able to get the smaller orders up. Robert says, "How many more days should I give these quails to hatch?" Well, because your temp is low, they're going to take extra time. So if you're on day 17, you need to increase your temp to 100 degrees ASAP. 18, 19, start on probably 20. You probably need to leave them in there until at least day 23. So yeah, that temp is pretty important. Let's see. Give them say. Martha says, "Do you still sell Celadon eggs? I didn't see them on your website this morning." I do not. I got out of them. It's just not something that I was willing to do at this time. George and Jenna really want to start the project, so the deal was that we were going to increase our jumbo sizes and really focus on those and increase our numbers we made this decision, I think, in August. So from August to March, we're only focusing on jumbo sizes and health and egg size and all that. And then as long as we meet that goal, then we'll start the Celadon project again. They really want to. Sydney says, "Can you recommend the best drinkers for the quail?" I love the troughs. You can get them at winolaranch.com or quailcage.com. But they're troughs, that's all we use in the barn, and I love them. They go on the outside of the cage. They just, I don't know when they say snap right, they just hang right on to the wire on the outside. And then you'll just cut a little hole for the birds to get out, but that gives them more room inside the cage. And they're not flinging water everywhere or standing up on it or getting below it and it leaking. There's no leaks with them, so I really love the troughs. Now that you're staying caught up, is it time to talk about QuailCon 2023? Not yet. I still have some. I've still got three big projects I'm still working on, so I don't think I'll be ready to discuss QuailCon 2023 until about February. But I am staying caught up, so maybe I can get if I as soon as I get these other projects done, it's gonna be full force on QuailCon. We just had a $5 donation from Freddie York. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Is it really January before you'll have jumbo hatching eggs? Sorry if already answered, just got here. Well, thanks for showing up. I really appreciate it, and thanks for the donation. Yes, it will be January. I've got to get I got to get caught up, and I've got to increase our numbers for next year so we're not on such a wait. So, um, yeah, I'm really focused on that right now. So yeah, January is when they'll be back on the website. I'm sorry. Let's see. Witch Doctor says just stopping by to say hi. Work has been keeping us late. We've missed all the lives. Well, thanks for showing up. I appreciate it, and glad you're here. Robert says, my incubator has no problem with humidity until lockdown. When I raised it, it shot up to 82. It's a Brencia with auto water pump, and it kept dumping water, and humidity went to 85. Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal, but the temp is more the problem, Robert. You got to get that temp up. S.O. Swanson says, how does the post office backlog during the Christmas holiday season affect shipments? We usually have either once every 2 weeks or once a month, we'll sit down with the postmaster, go over things, tell them how our shipments have been going, or whatever the case may be. During the Christmas season, we usually sit down the first week of December, and he pretty much gives me days that he can confirm and guarantee that it's going to be good to go. And then the other days we just don't ship. So we're much more strategic on those days. So usually instead of shipping, 4 or 5 days a week during December, or well, yeah, pretty much, except for the first week of December, we usually go down to about 2 days a week in shipping. Usually, no, 3 days. Usually we do Monday, Tuesday, Saturday is usually what we do. But I would assume it's going to be the same this year, but we'll see. Drew says, when moving quail to a grow-out cage, do you split males and females up or allow them to be in the same cage space? These will be processed in 8 weeks. That's a great question. You can do either one. I separate. It keeps the males in a bachelor pad, and since they're so young, when they do become fully mature and sexually active, they're not as aggressive. And they're not used to having the females. So that helps with that a lot. It also helps with the loud and the crowing and this, that, and the other. And then the females can just grow calmly, and they're not getting, because usually the males will get active and mature a week before the females. And so when the females need to be relaxed so that they can start laying eggs, the males are stressing them out. And so it's better to do it that way, but it's not that big of a deal. It'll help you a little bit in the long run, but on the same token, if it's going to take you like an all-day thing to separate, then I wouldn't worry about it. We've done both ways. I just prefer separating them because I'm going to have to go through them anyway. So I prefer to separate them at 3 weeks, and then I can just put them together when I want. It's a very good question. Let's see. Joe Sandy 1822 says, I'm in Michigan. Would you recommend waiting until spring to raise babies, or would they do okay this winter? Quail do fine all year long. In Michigan, you wouldn't want to put them outside until they're about 4.5 weeks old. So you would need the brooder inside somewhere. But it could be in an uninsulated shed or garage or barn or whatever. But they wouldn't need to be outside until they're about 4.5 weeks old. But once they're 4.5 weeks old, they're off to the races. Put them outside and they're good to go. Sydney says, where can I learn how to debone my quail carcasses? That is a great question, and I don't know. Oh, it doesn't matter. Ed Got Bait, which is one of the moderators on our YouTube channel, right below your question, Sydney. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like the sixth comment down by Ed Got Bait says deboning quail, and then there's the YouTube link. So there you go. That'd be better advice than what I could give you. Doug says, I just joined, so sorry if this has already been asked. What is a good starter incubator for a starter? It's a very good question. The most popular ones are going to be the Nurturite 360, a Hovabator, or a Little Giant, and Farm Innovator. Those are the four, by far, hands down, the most popular for hatching starters. I would look at the reviews. Now, I have done actual reviews. I've purchased them myself and done honest reviews on them on my YouTube channel. It's under the playlist Quail Product Reviews. And we did the same system with the Nurturite 360, the Little Giant, and the Hovabator, and gave you our thoughts overall, our hatch rate, our fertility rate, everything. I would probably watch those to see which one best fits you. I prefer plastic incubators. I think they're much easier to clean, much easier to control. George really prefers the styrofoam incubators. I don't. But we had really good success with the Little Giant, and I've heard horror stories from customers about the Little Giant. So I just think it's whatever fits you. But if you watch those videos, you can kind of say, like, you know, I really like this one more, and that's the reason why I did those videos. So I would check that out and let you know, because what I like might not best suit your needs. You know what I mean? Very good question, though. Psycho War 360's in the house. Welcome. Freddie York says, and again, Freddie, thank you very much for the donation. I really appreciate that. Freddie York says, I'm in South Florida and will be keeping my quail outside, full shade, but it usually stays in the high 80s. How hot is too hot? The heat doesn't really bother them. I've got customers that, you know, summer gets to 130, 140 degrees and they're outside and just have partial shade. They do just fine. And then I have customers in Alaska that, you know, gets, you know, negative 30, negative 40 degrees, and they have, you know, an area they can get out of the elements, but they do fine. So the heat or the weather itself, the temperature itself really doesn't affect them too much. But whatever you need to do, you need to make sure that they have the option to get out of the elements, because the elements is what affects them so much. Rain, snow, sleet, heavy wind, things like that. So they need a little shelter that they can get into if it's bad weather. Let's see. Dreams Acres is in the house. I'm in Michigan. Welcome. We're glad you're here. They stopped laying a week ago, brought them in the house in hatching time cage. Only one egg a day from one hen. Will they lay like normal again over the winter in the house with light? Yep. But because you did move them around and they were outside, now they're inside, and you know, this, that, and the other, it'll probably take them about 2 weeks before they start fully laying again. But just, you know, try to keep them on a regular schedule going forward, and give them 16 to 18 hours of light a day, and they'll lay all winter for you. Wow. Psycho Word 360 says it's 35 degrees in Vegas. Not have guessed that. It's 35 degrees here. It snowed twice. Listen to this. QuailCon is in September, beginning of September. It has rained twice since QuailCon. It has snowed 3 times in the past week. I think I'm in for a real bad winter. That's what I think. You can't see me. Love the name. Says, does temp have anything to do with it, or just light? Just the light, and well, the elements affect it, but the temp really doesn't affect it very much at all. Sydney McGill says, can I always add vitamins to the water daily? I wouldn't do it daily. At the most, I do it 2 times a week. You can actually you can give them too much. So 1-2 times a week, you know, would be recommended if you want to. Ba with the Ba's in the house. Welcome, glad you're here. Dreams Acres says, I have good lighting up for growing plants in long hours. Would it be a problem if the light stayed on 24 hours? They were used to daylight, then a big mercury light over their pen in the yard. Yeah, that would be fine. George likes the 24 hours of light. I like them to have a break. So I prefer to do 16 to 18 hours, but they could do 24. They will lay very, very well for you. But it is going to have them have a shorter lifespan because they're overproducing for you. But, you know, you're going to get the same amount of production just in a faster amount of time. Jesse Mills says that's because all the rain came during QuailCon and the drive home. I know, right? It's been crazy. We've had a drought. I mean, literally, it's rained twice, and neither one of them was a good rain. It was just an annoying rain is what it was. For all of September, all of October, and the first week in November. And then it got stupid, stinking cold last week and snowed, and then snowed the next day, and then it snowed today. And I'm like, okay, well, let's go. Sydney says, I have a sick bird that always produces eggs without shell. Why? Usually it's a calcium issue. If the rest of them are fine, most likely that one quail has a calcium deficiency, most likely. So you could add oyster shells to the feed to help that specific one. But usually it's a calcium deficiency, unfortunately. Oh, yeah. No, it's rained here 3 times. And the post office. Chad just donated $5. Thank you very much for the kids. Thank you to your farm mods on here and the quailing community for all you do. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And thanks for being a part of the community. We really appreciate that. And thank you very much for the donation. That's very generous of you. It looks like that's all of the questions. So if anybody has questions, feel free to ask. And I will get you taken care of. Obviously, I'll be back on next Sunday as well. I'll give you guys just a second if you want to type in any last questions. But what to look for this week is if you have not watched, I posted a video last week about when incubators lie, all about the temp. Today, I posted all about the humidity. I've got one more to post that's done, and it's miscellaneous. So if it's not temp and it's not humidity, these are the other things you need to look at. Other videos coming your way is reasons my quail are not laying, simple ways for a bachelor pad, why is my fertility low and what to look for, what to start with, just starting with quail, colors versus jumbo size and what's the difference, why quail die and what to look for, when to replace breeders and add new blood, making the quail journey easier and faster, what new quail raisers always ask, why you should not grind your feed, feeding your quail made simple. So all of those, except for 2 of them, are completely done. I won't be posting every day. I'm going to try, I'm committing to posting twice a week plus 2 lives. If I get extra ones done, then that's great, but I'm going to try to post twice a week. So if any of those sound interesting to you or helpful to you, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for notifications because we got a lot of really good videos coming your way. Remember, every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I go live. And it's more of a live community setting. We do a lot of fun things on there. We read all the comments. We just talk back and forth. It's a lot of fun. And then we've got our rapid fires tonight. Let's see. I'm just seeing if we have any other questions. Again, everybody that's here, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm just not reading all the comments tonight as it is supposed to be rapid fire. It looks like that is all. So again, everybody, thank you very much for the comments. I really appreciate it. I did enjoy a lot of those comments. Thank you for the questions. We had some good questions tonight. Looks like we do have another one. Martha says, "Do you need to give new chick grit?" No, you do not. What is the way? They don't need grit at all. So that eliminates that whole issue. Let's see. Sydney says, "I'm thinking of marketing pickled eggs and place in jars. Any advice?" I think it's a great idea. I've never done it. I know that some of my customers do very, very well with pickled eggs. They seem to be a very big, hot seller. Yeah, I think you're going to do great at it. I know a lot of people that have had a lot of success with it. So I wish you all the best. I've just never done that. Any inexpensive cage ideas that might be found on Craigslist besides actual quail cages, like rabbit hutches, etc.? Yeah, anything to do with rabbit cages, rabbit hutches, those will work great. Chicken tractor, yeah, anything to do with rabbit will go great with the quail, except for the waters. You need a different water. But any cage setup for rabbits, which usually there's a lot on Craigslist, will work great for quail as well. You might need to modify it just a little, but not very much at all. Yes, the rest are comments. That is all the questions. So hopefully I did pretty well tonight. Was trying to go as quickly as possible. So again, thank you very much. If you were interested in any of the videos I just mentioned, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it. My eggs from you hatched 116 chicks from 170 with extra total. That is wonderful to hear. Thank you very much. That is not what I was supposed to write on. Here we go. 116 out of 170. That's great. Congratulations. Golds. Wonderful. That's great. Congratulations. Those are great numbers. Thank you very much for letting me know. I appreciate that. I will be happy to put those in our numbers. So thank you very much. We do have some good stuff coming your way, so check that out. And everybody, thank you very much for showing up. I appreciate it. We will be back Sunday and Tuesday next week to answer any questions that you might have. Get the word out about quail however you want. If you find a good video, whether it's from me or Slightly Redneck or anybody else, make sure you share that video to Facebook or anything like that to get more people involved with self-sufficiency and the best part of self-sufficiency, which is Coturnix quail, in my opinion. So thank you very much, everybody, and we will see you next time. As always, stay safe.